my beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tracell. This is Facemeetstracell YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. We're all about the glitz, the glamour, the drama. The love is blind, darling. Oh my god, I am shook. I am shooketh. I really was going to do a makeup look while we talk about this, but y'all, I have notes. I have pages of notes. We got to makeup and talk about it. So I decided I was just gonna pack up all of my makeup stuff from the area that I've been filming while we discuss this ish, because that's what it is. Netflix took me on a roller coaster ride. Okay, so I have not watched the reunion yet. I don't even know if the reunion has been aired. I have watched up until when they all got married. Y'all, where do we start? From the beginning, shall we? In my last video, I said that there were 3 front runners: Deepti and Shek, Jarette and Iyanna, and Nick and Daniel. Those were my 3 front runners. Shaina and Nathalie, I was on the fence about them, and Kyle and Shaina, I knew that was not gonna happen. I'm gonna do it by couple, right? We're gonna start with, let's go by couple. And you know what? Let's start with the prettiest couple of them all, Shaina and Kyle. Things to note: she made this man break his vegetarianism, veganism, whatever ism he was on, after 8 years, to then tell him they need to sleep in separate rooms, to then tell him, actually not to tell him, to just leave him in Cancun. This girl is, she has been, she will be, she was just all across the board. Like, from then, I was like, oh my god, this girl irritates my soul. And she told him if he didn't eat the bread, he was not a man. In what world does that not make him a man because he does not eat bread? She was the freaking whiz. Like, now I understand all the memes that they had with her with Love is Blurry, because she was always constantly squinting. And I was like, what are you trying to see? What are you squinting so hard to see? Like, what is it? And you just have focus on that you have to be squinting constantly. She threw me for a loop. Another point to note: she called him a child. In the first, like in their opening scene in Cancun. She called him a child. Because apparently he's younger than her, which I didn't even notice. I'm pretty sure no one noticed, but she noticed. Because I guess women will notice this. It's a woman thing, not necessarily a Shaina thing. But sis, you were already treating him like shit. You accepted his mother's ring, and you know you did not like that man. You knew you were in love with Shayne. You knew that. I knew that. All of America, all of whoever watched this show on Netflix knew that you did not love this man. You only went with him because Nathalie was so vocal about the fact that Shayne was into her. And he definitely was. And I thought, oh my gosh, I thought they were gonna make it. I was like, oh my gosh, they will prove Shaina wrong. But I did say in my last video, I did say that there would be a miscommunication, and I did not think that they would get married. I was very surprised at when the miscommunication happened, but I was not wrong. Continuing with my notes about Shaina and Kyle. Oh, she definitely overcompensated when she was talking about, oh, she thinks she has the prettiest ring out of all the girls. Sis, it's an old vintage ring. It's literally a gold band with a diamond. That's all it is. Did you see Mallory's ring? Did you see Iyanna's ring? It's definitely not the prettiest ring. And I'm pretty sure if you get engaged in the future, it's not gonna be that kind of ring that you're gonna get. And then on top of that, you used to wear it on your thumb. Now, I personally, me being Kyle, if I was in his shoes, I was never gonna give her my mother's engagement ring, because sis, 10 days is not enough to get my family heirloom. I'm so sorry. And then when they met up afterwards, she met him without the ring. And then she also said in her confessional, she's going to try to get Shayne away from Nathalie. And then she did the right thing and she broke it off with Kyle. bravo. The one good thing that you did was breaking it off with that man, because you know you did not like that man. You did not love that man from the start, and all of y'all just throwing out all these love yous like if it's a simple word. It's not a simple word. What are you doing? I'm supposed to be packing. Shaina is trash. I have a whole page dedicated to Shaina. Shady as and she was trying to drum up drama between Nathalie and Shayne. We knew you wanted that man. I was trying not to give myself spoilers, but I was really intrigued as to see like where she ended up after she left the show. And I went on her page and I did not click on the post, and my eyesight is not the best, so I did not see who the guy was, but she was posted up in a bikini photo with a guy next to her, and I'm praying to God, I'm praying that is not Shayne. But then again, both of them are douchebags the same way, and maybe they deserve each other. God don't like ugly. God don't like ugly, Alia. God does not like ugly. Let's move on to the next couple, Nathalie and Shayne. This page, I literally needed to find space on this page. Nathalie was very douchey. When they got to Cancun, she was very douchey. And then I understood that was her personality. She jokes a lot. And Shayne really needed reassurance of love. He needed, his love language is words of affirmation. Tell him he's pretty all day long. And that's the kind of guy that he is. And a lot of men will watch it and say, well, why are you being such a woman? But that's just his love language. And who are we to tell him otherwise? In the beginning, she was not being nice. She was always joking around. Whenever he was fishing for a compliment, she would point it out, like she would love to call him out, which made him feel less than. And is it emasculated or demasculated? Whatever, it did that to him. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so sad. Poor Shayne, because he really was very affectionate and really in love with her and trying to show her how much he loved her. And it felt as if, and it was portrayed on the show as if it was not being reciprocated. But then when you get into the story and you realize, oh my gosh, they really do love each other. And they are a fun time. And I get it, and I understand their dynamic, and it makes sense. And I was really happy. And I was like, oh my God, they're so happy together. They look nice together. Oh my gosh, his mother loves her. Her parents were very hesitant, as any parent would be. I get all sides. I get all sides. We're just gonna pause on the clean and we're gonna continue this talk. So I have Nathalie, kind of douchey. That was the beginning. Doesn't give affection as expected by Shayne, because Shayne wants to be told that he's pretty. He wants to be told, oh my God, you look so good today, babe. He likes PDA. He wants all of that. He wants you to brag about him and his relationship and how he treats you. He wants you to tell the world. He wants you to stand on a soapbox and scream from the rooftop that, oh my gosh, I am so in love with Shayne. But that is not who Nathalie is. But she said she was willing to learn and she was willing to do it. And you saw as the show progressed that she was, and she did. And I was like, okay, progress. This is gonna work out. And then I was like, wow, they kiss a lot. Oh, and they had sex on the first night. I was like, oh my God. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. In Cancun, they had sex. I was like, oh, y'all fast. They were very playful together. I loved their chemistry. They were joking a lot. And honest to God, I really did love like all the death threats that she gave him whenever he would make mention of like sex and their sexual activities and stuff like that. It was always like, do you want to be murdered? And it was so freaking funny and cute to me, because in the context of it all, it was great. In the context of it all, I was really happy for them. I was like, Shayne and Nathalie looking really good. They both tried really hard. He was trying to learn her culture when they were talking about things for the wedding and the panchan. And I was like, oh, how come you can't say panchan? We just be drinking panchan in Trinidad. Except we just call it fire water. Enjoy my little dad joke, okay? When Nathalie's parents met Shayne, I expected a very stern face, but when her mother saw Shayne, I think she was like, oh, so he's not ugly. I honestly think so. I mean, he's not my cup of tea, but when her mother saw him, she was like her face lit up, and I was like, you wasn't just telling Nathalie that you don't approve of this just like 5 minutes ago. Like, come on, lady, you're being wishy-washy. But her face lit up, and he was a really nice gentleman. When he met the parents, he was such a gentleman. It was so good. I was so proud of him because you all know he can be a douche and he can be all over the place. And he did say in the show that he's very obnoxious. And Nathalie said, I don't think you're obnoxious. That's a lie. The lie detector determined.
And that was a lie.
Overall, Nathalie's vibe was giving me total Kourtney Kardashian. Like just how she spoke, how she carried herself. She was such a reserved type of person. She didn't show much emotion like all the time, but when she did, it was like really funny. Like her sense of humor, everything about her reminded me of Kourtney Kardashian. I literally wrote, Nathalie gives me Kourtney vibes. And then she came on the wedding day and said that they had a huge blowout fight, and she was in tears, and I was like, oh my god, how bad could this fight be? After she said no, because she said no, by the way, if you didn't watch the show, she said no. She told Shayne she doesn't want to marry him. After Shayne said yes, after he said yes, she said no. She said, no sir, no sorry mom, this is not for me. I was shook. I was so shook. I was 100% sure she was gonna say yes, and she said no. But then she went back and she told him that she doesn't mind staying together and working it out. She just thinks that they needed more time, which they probably did. They probably needed more time. I agree. They didn't work out. She said no. Let's move on to the next couple. Deepti and Shek. When I tell you, I was rooting for Deepti and Shek so bad. So freaking bad. I was like, yes, we're gonna have an Indian wedding. I was 100% sure they were gonna make it, because the way Shek reacted to Deepti, when he saw her the first time, I was like, oh my god, he's attracted to her, and that is not his type. I am so glad. I was like, he was like, oh my god, she's such a, he didn't say these words, but that's my interpretation. He treated her like if she was a goddess. He touched her feet. He did everything to make that girl feel like she was the bee's knees when she met him. And then when they got to Cancun and she was overly affectionate. I personally thought she came on really strong. But at the same time, the first time he saw her in person, he told her, I'm gonna get you pregnant. And oh my gosh, you're so hot. And he grabbed her face and he grabbed her and he was very affectionate and very lovey-dovey all over her body, making her feel like the sexiest human being alive. So I was not shocked to see that when they went to Cancun, she expected that affection to be continued. But then when she started repeating what he said to her back to him, it became a problem. This man said this woman, the lack of physical attraction is because she reminds him of his aunt. His freaking aunt. Is it because she's an Indian woman, Shek? So are you telling me you cannot see yourself with an Indian woman even though you're Indian? So it screams self-hate. It screams self-hate. It screams I'm whitewashed and I want to be accepted. That's what it screams to me. I don't know why, but the first thing I wrote was terrible kisser. Like watching them kiss was terrible for me. It was like a lot of the... It was like kissing cardboard. There was zero affection in it. In Cancun, there was zero affection with those kisses. It was looking at somebody kissing a wall. It was really hard. Deepti was heavy into the petting, and Shek was just not here for it. And I was like, why didn't you just leave her then and there when you realized that this is how you felt? Shaina left Kyle when she realized that there are differences because he's an atheist and she's a Christian, and she needs somebody that's strong in her faith with her, which I admire. Like, who doesn't want that? She realized that he was not gonna be able to be there to lead her like that. And she said that. And she left him. Why didn't you do that with Deepti? You stayed there and you continued this emotional connection. You kept building it. You was stoking the fire. You was there fanning the coals for the barbecue, and then you never put the chicken on the grill. That don't make sense. But yeah, in the beginning, I was like, Deepti's very affectionate. My notes. I'm reading my notes. They did not have sex on the first night. They did not have sex at all, actually. And in the pool, Deepti came on very strong. And Shek was very apprehensive, and he even said that even though when they were in the pool, she was just repeating what it is he had told her. He had told her he wanted to get her pregnant. She was talking about how many babies they would have, all of that. All of which they discussed in the pods. And she said she would have as many kids as she can afford in the pods. Y'all. And then he said he was not attracted to her. He said he was 80% there. Everything else was there except that 20%, which was the physical attraction. He wanted to ravish the woman that he is with. And I agree, you should have that physical attraction to your partner. But sir, you took her along a roller coaster. You did, and it was not fair. But when it came down to it, they didn't give them much coverage. I honestly don't think they gave them as much coverage as they did the other couple. Deepti met Shek's parents. He tried to explain the physical attraction issue to his mother, and his mother was like, I can't side with you, because she understands Deepti's perspective, because I believe that their marriage was, no, I don't know if Shek's parents' marriage was arranged, but definitely Deepti's parents' marriage was arranged. Come on, Shek, you dropped the ball. You were the error in communication here. You were the error. You were the wrong 100%. Deepti said no, which I was Deeps, my girl. I say Deepti, but is it Deepti? Deepti, my girl, you said no, and I was like, yes. I mean, I cried. I'm not gonna lie. I cried, y'all. I wrote it here. I cried because I really wanted them to hook up. I cried when he was walking. Not when he was walking in. I cried when she was walking in, and I was like, this is so perfect. An Indian wedding, showing cultural diversity. I love it. And she told him no, and I was really glad that she did. And she said she deserves somebody that's 100% sure about her, and that is freaking fair. That is so fair. He was never 100% sure. And there was a point where he was talking to Shayne about the situation, because apparently he spoke to everybody, and he spoke to Deepti about it once on the show that they showed. And Shayne was like, well, what are you doing? And I was like, oh my God, here is Shayne with some wisdom. If Shayne has wisdom, why don't you have wisdom? So she said she chooses herself, and she deserves somebody that will love her. And the way Shek was speaking after she said no, I was like, sir, your ego is hurt. Your pride, it has been hit a right hand to the face. And you are sounding really douchey, and I'm not impressed by how you're responding to it. I was so disappointed in how he spoke after she left him at the altar. I was so disappointed in him. I was so disappointed is the one word I can use to describe, because it was just trash. His character showed he was a very self-absorbed. He was very arrogant, very disrespectful. I personally think he was very, very rude, and he was not deserving of her, and she made a damn good choice. Next.